morning. Well, we all know that the past has always been our teacher, guiding our steps, informing our decisions. Today, this morning, we have a unique opportunity to learn from the past as we get a personal view of a very, very public man. A man whose leadership in life shaped every aspect of the modern state of Israel. Today, we take a closer look through the eyes of two men who knew Israel's President Chaim Herzog the best, his sons.
My father was Chaim Herzog. My mother always said that my father had 4 or 5 different careers in one person.
His personal history does personify a very important historic chapter in the history of the Jewish people.
My father joined the British Army in World War II. He liberated Bergen-Belsen, captured Heinrich Himmler, fought in the War of Independence, and went on to become one of Israel's most famous spokespeople and generals, and the most famous Israeli ambassador to the United Nations, and Israel's 6th president.
While he devoted his life to public service and was a very busy person and a lot away from home, he was ever present in our lives as a family, in my life as a young person.
He was a mentor for me, he taught me. He would always speak about where he was and where Israel was and where it should be.
He always felt that that was his destiny, to serve the Jewish people, the state of Israel. There are several historical junctures where I think he left his mark. In 1975, when my father was ambassador to the UN,
a coalition of anti-Semitic nations cooked a resolution that came up through the committees of the United Nations. This is the famous UN resolution which equated Zionism with racism.
And my father decided that he has to fight that resolution as hard as possible. And he found a wonderful partner in Patrick Moynihan, the US ambassador, who felt the same about this heinous resolution. And he decided that he's going to fight that resolution and give everything he has.
And my father was thinking, what would he do in the speech? A few days before, he met a friend who was a Bergen-Belsen survivor, who tells him, listen, you should know that if it's on 10th November, it's 37 years to Kristallnacht. That's the watershed event that led to the Holocaust. My father decided he would start with this.
On the 10th of November 1938, when Hitler's Nazi stormtroopers launched a coordinated attack on the Jewish community in Germany, burnt the synagogues in all the cities, and made bonfires in the streets of the holy books and the scrolls of the Holy Law and the Bible.
And then he looked for an ending, a dramatic ending.
The idea came to him from his father, Rabbi Isaac Herzog, who was chief rabbi of Palestine from the late 30s to the establishment of the State of Israel.
And he remembered his father, Rabbi Herzog, demonstrating against the White Paper, which was a British law preventing immigration of Jews to Palestine of that time when the British mandate. And my grandfather tore up that White Paper, that law, in front of a huge crowd in Jerusalem.
My father remembered that. He looked for a dramatic gesture, and he found it.
And he kept it secret, he kept it totally confidential.
For us, the Jewish people, this is no more than a piece of paper, and we shall treat it as such. Thank you, Mr. President.
And that's the ending of his speech, which was so dramatic. And I was in school in New York, and I was watching that speech. It was broadcasted all over the media and all the big networks in America and the world.
I was here in Israel serving in the IDF. I watched that debate, and I spoke to him over the phone immediately after that. And he just said, you know, this was the right thing to do. I felt I had to do it.
The next morning, my father spoke at a huge rally in Manhattan with tens of thousands of Jews.
With buttons saying, we are Zionists. And to this day, it is remembered. Decades after, what he did is remembered. My father's last public appearance was delivering a speech at the AIPAC policy conference in 1997. He was already sick then, but he decided to go. It was very important to him to go and deliver that speech because he strongly believed in the bonds between Israel and the US.
If my father had to advise the next generations, I guess he would say the following: never take the state of Israel for granted, never.
The tragedies that befell the Jewish people in my lifetime have no equal, but our victories and achievements have surpassed the dreams of generations. That is why one can dream, one should dream, one must dream. Thank you.